I recently read Nabokov's Pnin, which is a pretty lighthearted novel written in the 50s about Timofey Pnin, a Russian professor of the Russian language. The book focuses on a short period of his life and is mostly about his experience as a Russian immigrant in America, his relationships, and his time working as a professor. That last point is why I picked up this novel. I recently graduated with my bachelor's degree, and since I don't intend to go to grad school, that means I'm done with college. It's barely been 3 months since I've finished, and I'm already missing school. So I read Pnin hoping it would give me a little reminder or a taste of what college life was like, and it kind of did, actually. In this novel, Professor Pnin occasionally does things like spend lots of time at the library, or he uses his free time outside of classes on his own personal research and projects that no one would care about in normal society. And honestly, this pretty well captures some of my professors. And so, as I read, for moments I would be reminded of my old school's library, filled with several floors worth of dust-covered books that no one cared to read. Or I thought of modern sites like JSTOR, which were used exclusively for when professors said you needed some, quote, scholarly sources in your papers. I think that research for its own sake is a real thing, especially in schools. And that's one thing I miss, I think. Just the feeling that in college, you could write and research, and you could learn more and more and more about something, and it could just go on forever. That to me really defines college. It's a place where you could go to learn and then end up getting lost forever. Unlike other situations where you might learn in life, such as at work or in your own studies, the research and learning done there isn't always for some higher purpose. Rather, the learning is the point. I've never been surrounded so strongly by people who care about knowledge more than anything else, and I think I loved it. But easy as it is to forget, you don't go to college just to learn. Obviously, you go to school with the hopes of learning so that way you can get a good job, so that way you can buy a nice house and maybe settle down and raise a family, and then you'll get old and die, and that'll be that. That's the real reason why you go. You go for long enough to get your degree, and then you leave, and that's it. Therefore, the exit is an integral part of the college experience. And even the novel notes this. At the end of the book, given the choice between either being fired or working under a man he hates, Professor Pnin leaves the university he's taught at for several years, driving off in his cramped sedan. No one stays in school forever. While I enjoyed some aspects of the novel, I can't say it gave me the feeling I was hoping for, namely that feeling of being back on campus. Though the book had plenty of scenes in classrooms and on school grounds and with students and professors themselves, it's just not the same. A novel is an experience, but ultimately reading one in the hopes of reliving a real-life experience is almost like drinking diet soda. It might taste a bit like the real thing, and it might even satisfy your craving for the real thing, but at the end of the day, it's not the real thing and it never will be. And so this is when I realized you can't ever go home. Not really. I miss going to school, or at least some aspects of it. I can't say I miss the homework or the stress of the assignments or the cost of tuition or the commute, but I think I miss the experience of going to classes and meeting people and learning more and making sense of things that once baffled me. None of these things are unique to universities, but rather, as a package, I can't help but feel like a university is the only place you can get them all together. Pnin was a good distraction for a bit, and it gave me whiffs of that feeling of being a student, but again, nothing can truly give you that feeling except for the real thing. But even then, like Pnin at the end of the novel, if you stay in school for too long, you'll end up disappointed, as people have moved on, but you're still in the same place. Books are great and memories are wonderful, but life moves quickly. And though this is difficult, maybe even impossible to do, I think it's important to remind ourselves that once you leave a place, you can't go back. Not really. What's gone is gone. You're becoming a different person all the time, and the place changes as well. For me, it's hard to believe I'm done with school. Again, it's only been a few months, and so while I feel like I'm still in a transitory phase, everything just feels surreal, like I lost something I'm trying to find again. But I think that just as Pnin leaves his school and enters the unknown, we too often leave what we know behind in search of something else. And maybe the phase we enter is not better, but different. And so, at the end of this, I think that maybe if we give them a chance, new phases in life, whether that be life after school or work or a relationship or so on, can end up becoming those periods that we yearn for in a few years after they themselves have passed. In other words, the past is gone, but the future looks bright.